my name is Jarvis Morgan, and this is my persuasive speech on how AI-controlled cars should react in a trial-by-trial like situation. So imagine you're driving down the road one day, and you have a pedestrian walk out in front of you, not paying attention, and you're left with two options. Option number one, you swerve out of the way, risk your own health and safety to try and not hit the pedestrian. Or option two, you hit the brakes and hope you don't hit them or risk injuring them. Now, in 2035, we should be having AI-controlled cars. So what should they do? How should they be programmed to avoid this scenario? Should they swerve out of the way or brake? Personally, I don't think there is any specific right or wrong answer. I've done my research on this topic using Gale in the opposing viewpoint section, and it goes on to talk about how so many factors are put into play, and there are so many different situations, so there can't just be one simple solution to this problem. For example, if the accident took place in a busy intersection, it'd be different to if the accident took place on an empty road. Or the speed you're going. Say you're going at a high speed, you don't want to immediately try and swerve out of the way, you might end up rolling the car over. But if you're going at a lower speed, then yeah, that might be the safer option, to swerve and get out of the way. If you were to think that there's only one singular solution, then there'd most likely be other people to debate your opinion, which is why I don't think many people would come to an agreement so easily with this situation. And I think a problem with society when it comes to these questions is people would probably be more likely be inclined to risk their own life and save another, which I believe is a very respectable thing to do. But by saving theirs, they're risking their own life by putting theirs in jeopardy. Jeopardy. My bad. So I believe the main solution for this problem is to have the car check its surroundings and then put in all these factors to see which is the safest viable option. One second. The car can check its speed and have, say, a marker to where it says what speed it can be going to where it'd be safe to swerve out of the way without having loss of grip or rolling over. But say if it's going too fast, then it could try and brake instead, if that's a safer option for both the pedestrian and the passenger. Though it still is a very risky situation, it does lead to the least amount of casualties to use both of these solutions at once. The National Institutes of Health is looking into the decision-making programming for AI-controlled cars. That way, in the future, we do not run into the same problem of who's at fault for the accident, who's more important to save, or what the car should have done instead of what it had done in the situation. You can find all that information. You can find more information on that topic at the blue highlighted part right here. Some of the consequences of not heeding my advice can be more lives lost in the future due to these kinds of car accidents. And people could people will most likely end up staying away from the autonomous car industry due to these certain risks and having to do lawsuits in case they end up in these kinds of accidents. These consequences can drastically change people's lives for worse if not followed. Although, if you do heed my advice and listen to what I have to say, then it would help keep the roads much safer and allow people to enjoy the luxury of not needing to drive everywhere, but instead being driven where they need to be without the stress of worrying about other people and their life and having them put their lives at risk to try and figure out this little trolley problem we have here. So tell me, what would you do in this situation? Brake or swerve?